Pick up the tech tonight, fifth of the
Yeah,
season.
it's ridiculous. I got a technical for clapping. So, like, if we should all just go on the calendar now and pick a game that I'm going to be suspended for if I'm going to get technicals for clapping. I asked Gerda. Gerda said that I got a technical for clapping.
Gerda!
So, if any technical should be taken away, it should be that one. If it's truly for clapping, that's what they said they gave it to me for was for clapping. So it's.
22-year-old just did something no other player in the WNBA would dare do. She looked directly into the camera, named a referee by name, not once, not twice, but 3 times in 30 seconds, and essentially told the league, "Suspend me if you want, but everyone's watching now." Caitlin Clark didn't have an emotional meltdown. She didn't throw a tantrum. She executed a calculated media strategy that has the entire league scrambling to figure out how to respond. And what happened next reveals a power dynamic in professional sports that's about to shift everything. Caitlin Clark looked directly into the camera and did something we almost never see in professional sports. She didn't make vague complaints about officiating.
For her comments after the game. Quote, "I got a technical for clapping. So we should all just go on the calendar now and pick a game that I'm going to be suspended for if I'm going to get technicals for clapping." I said, okay, then you just don't like competitive basketball, and that's just facts. Now, the thing with Caitlin Clark.
She didn't give generic frustration with the refs. She said one name 3 times in 30 seconds. Gerda, Gerda, Gerda. If you understand what that means for a player sitting at 5 technical fouls with 1 more suspension looming, you understand why this moment matters. Because here's what most people missed in the headlines about Clark calling out referees. This wasn't an emotional outburst. This was calculated. She's daring the league to suspend her, and she knows exactly what she's doing. Watch her face in that moment. That's not just frustration. That's calculated defiance. She's not asking for sympathy. She's not hoping the league will take pity on her. She's making a statement that every official, every front office executive, and every broadcast.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
It's just ridiculous. I don't understand it at all.
So even within that, though, how aware do you have to be of the 8 technical fouls?
I mean, I'm going to play with emotion. I'm going to play with passion. And if they're going to give me a technical foul for clapping, then so be it. That's their choice. And the league can come back and review that play. And I'd love to hear what they say of the reasoning of why I got the technical foul in that situation and why other players on their team didn't get a technical foul in that situation. If anything, split it. Okay, fine. Everybody gets a technical foul. That wasn't how they were handed out. So I'd love to know. But obviously, that's what I went to Gerda and said. I said, why'd you give me a technical foul? She said, because I was clapping and instigating. I said, okay, then you just don't like competitive basketball.
Partner will hear loud and clear. Her words were measured and specific. "I got a technical for clapping, so we should all just go on the calendar now and pick a game that I'm going to be suspended for. If they're going to give me a technical for clapping, then so be it." But then she dropped the real challenge. The league can come back and review that play. I'd love to hear what they say about the reasoning of why I got the technical foul and why other players on their team didn't get one in that situation. She wasn't asking permission. She was demanding accountability. When she says, "Then you just don't like competitive basketball," that line is going to follow Gerda Lewis for the entire season. Clark isn't just complaining about one call, she's questioning whether this official even understands the game. More importantly, she's asking the league to either admit the technical was wrong or publicly defend giving a technical for clapping, while opposing players did the exact same thing without penalty. That's not a request you make if you think you're wrong. That's a challenge. She's essentially saying, defend your decision in front of millions of people or
Damn.
And that's just facts. That's just reality. So disappointing from them.
Damn, she made sure we all know her name. Gerda. She made sure we all know Gerda's name moving forward. Gerda. Yeah, why did I get a technical foul and everybody else on the other team didn't get a technical foul? If we're handing out technical fouls for clapping, how come I got a technical and nobody else did? Gerda. Oh, you just don't like competitive basketball then? Oh, okay. Interesting. And then she says, I want the league to review it and get back to me.
admit you made a mistake. But here's what makes this truly brilliant. Clark knows the league won't do either. They can't rescind it without embarrassing the officiating crew. They can't defend it without looking absurd. So they'll stay silent, and that silence will be louder than any explanation they could offer. Everyone watching will draw their own conclusion. Let's be clear about what's at stake. The WNBA's technical foul rule is straightforward. 7 technicals equals a 1-game suspension and a $5,000 fine. 8 technicals means another suspension and another fine. Clark is at 5. She's 3 technicals away from missing games during a critical playoff push. And she just went on record challenging the legitimacy of one of those 5. That's not reckless. That's calculated pressure on the league office. What makes this moment significant is that Clark has a history of accepting responsibility. Earlier this season, she slapped a stanchion in frustration and got a technical. Her response in the press conference was simple: "I deserved that one." When she legitimately earns a technical, she owns it. So when she comes out this forcefully against a call, it carries weight. She's not the boy who cried wolf.
This is the clap that we're talking about. Boom, she sees him. Clap, 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 clap. That's it. That's what she got a technical foul for. Caitlin Clark speaking about Myisha Hines-Allen having her back.
Directly or specific words, but I don't know. I appreciate having my back. It's nice to have a teammate like that. That's always going to go to.
She's a player saying, "This one is actually unfair, and I have evidence to prove it." This distinction matters. If Clark had a reputation for constantly complaining about every call, nobody would take her seriously. But she doesn't. She accepts what she deserves and challenges what she doesn't. That integrity is her credibility, and she's spending that credibility on this specific technical foul. Here's what actually happened. Clark sees a play developing, claps her hands 3 or 4 times while staying in position, and immediately gets hit with a technical foul. No demonstrative gestures toward the official. No words directed at the ref, just clapping. Gerda Lewis decided that warranted a technical foul in a playoff race game in May. The audio is clear.
I want the league to review it and get back to me. Let me know why you decided to give me a technical, and hopefully it makes some sense to me. Hopefully the explanation that you give me for getting a technical foul, hopefully that makes sense to me. League. Gerda.
Video is clear. She clapped. She got a technical. That's it. Now compare that to what goes uncalled in other games this season. Players yelling directly at officials. Players making demonstrative arm gestures after calls. Players staring down refs after disagreements. All of that happens regularly without technical fouls being issued. But Caitlin Clark claps her hands, and it's crossing the line into unsportsmanlike conduct. The inconsistency is impossible to ignore. And that's exactly what Clark is pointing out. She's not saying she should never get technical fouls. She's saying that if clapping is now grounds for a technical, then every player who does it should get one. But they don't. Which means either Gerda Lewis has a problem with Clark specifically, or she's making inconsistent decisions. Either way, it's a problem. This wasn't happening in a vacuum. The game was physical. Multiple players were getting emotional. Myisha Hines-Allen and Zena Williams both got involved when things got chippy with Connecticut's
Battle for their teammates, and I thought we did a good job of refocusing and trying to.
Yeah, Myisha Hines-Allen, she had her back right there. Myisha had Cece's back, and Sophie had Myisha Hines-Allen's back. I mean, it was nice last night. It was good. It was good. It was different than the JC Sheldon. JC Sheldon, Sophie Cunningham was getting revenge on JC Sheldon. This was actually Myisha Hines-Allen stepping in and saying, "Oh, we ain't doing that, Alyssa Thomas. You ain't the only swole MFer around here. I'm big swole." Shout out to the Pope.
Sun players. They stepped in because their coach wasn't going to. Clark's teammates had her back in the moment, understanding that management wasn't going to protect her. But here's the thing. When Clark clapped, she got singled out for a technical, while the Sun players involved in the same sequence didn't receive any punishment. That's the real issue Clark is raising here. Not that she got a technical, not that the game was physical, but that 2 players doing the same thing received different consequences. Think about what this means for competitive integrity. If officials are applying different standards to different players in the same game, that fundamentally undermines fairness. It's not about being soft or hard on players. It's about consistency. And if Clark genuinely believes she's being officiated differently than other players, she has every right to demand an explanation from the league office. She's not just protecting herself, she's protecting the integrity of the game and setting a standard that should matter to everyone. Here's where it gets personal. Clark's head coach Stephanie White had the opportunity to defend her star player in the post-game press conference. She refused to
I'm big swole around here. You ain't just doing it. I mean, back in the day, look at these two. These two used to jaw at each other. Now they're on the same team. Now these two are on the same team with the biggest star this league has ever seen in life. Pick a network broadcast night so their TV partners light up the WNBA. Yeah. It was chippy and poorly officiated. Yeah, the officials, it was badly officiated game. Demon home. There, everybody's saying the demon home. Between going rogue and calling out the officials after the game, hopefully we see more of that. Of course, we heard the audio, right? Of course, they're not going to watch film, right? And if they do watch film, it's not going to be of any substance. They're not going to learn anything. They're not going to take away the right lessons. So I'm assuming we're going to the other game. And instead of moving forward, we're like, oh, Caitlin Clark, yeah, this is your show. You're going to run it. Nope. Instead, we're going to say, all right, you, AB, you could be the hub. And then Kelsey Mitchell, we can run through you. And then Caitlin Clark will get tired and be like, all right, time for me to dominate. I hope that's not the case. But Stephanie White hasn't given me much hope so far. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video, hype the video, and subscribe to the channel. That would mean so much to me. Caitlin Clark calling out the referees. See you next time, and as always.
name the Connecticut Sun players who were playing physical all game. She wouldn't call out the dirty play. She wouldn't publicly defend Clark. And that creates an interesting dynamic. When your head coach won't speak up for you, but you're willing to speak up for yourself, that sends a message about who really has the leverage in that relationship. Clark's teammates understood this. Misha Hines Allen made it clear that the Fever weren't going to let Connecticut push Clark around without consequences. "I'm big and swole around here. You ain't doing that," she essentially said. The teammates had her back. The coach didn't, so Clark did what she had to do. She protected herself. And she did it more effectively than her coach probably could have. When a coach complains about refs, it looks like sour grapes. When a general manager cries about officiating, it looks desperate. But when the star player calmly lays out specific facts and challenges the league to defend their decision, it looks like legitimate advocacy. It looks like someone with nothing to hide and everything to gain from transparency. White's silence made Clark's statement louder, and Clark understood that dynamic perfectly. Here's why the WNBA has a problem. Indiana Fever games featuring Caitlin Clark average over 1 million viewers this season. That's unprecedented for women's basketball. When she plays, arenas fill up. When she's on national television, ratings spike dramatically. The league just signed massive new media deals with NBC, Amazon Prime, and ESPN, partially on the strength of the attention Clark generates. Broadcast partners are paying billions for the right to show WNBA games. They're making that investment because of players like Caitlin Clark. Suspending her would cost those broadcast partners real money. It would force them to show games without their marquee player, disappointing viewers who tuned in specifically to watch her play. Clark understands this leverage perfectly. She knows the league needs her more than she needs to stay silent about bad officiating. She knows broadcast partners have a vested interest in seeing her on the court, not suspended for accumulating technical fouls. She knows her fans will support her against the refs because they've watched her get hammered physically all season while officials swallow their whistles on obvious fouls. So when she says, "I'm going to keep playing with emotion and passion," she's really saying, "I dare you to suspend me." Suspending Caitlin Clark would generate massive backlash from fans, media criticism about protecting league stars, and potential financial consequences from broadcast partners. The officials know this. The league knows this. And Clark knows that everyone knows this. She's not bluffing, she's stating facts. This is sophisticated media strategy from a 22-year-old player. She's not venting frustration. She's shaping the narrative around her technical fouls, building public support for her position, and making it politically difficult for the league to suspend her. She's using her platform to protect herself since her coach won't do it. Now think about what this means going forward. Every time Gerda Lewis is assigned to a Fever game, it's a storyline. Fans will watch specifically to see if she gives Clark another technical. Media will analyze every call involving Clark when Lewis is on the crew. The scrutiny will be intense. And that's exactly what Clark wanted to accomplish with these comments. She's essentially crowdsourcing accountability by making millions of fans aware of Gerda Lewis's name and this specific incident. Future officials will think twice before issuing questionable technicals to Clark. They'll know millions of people are watching. They'll know social media will dissect every frame. They'll know the narrative will be controlled by someone with a platform much larger than theirs. Clark has changed the game without breaking any rules. The immediate question is what the WNBA does about this. If they rescind the technical, they validate Clark's complaints and potentially open the door to other players challenging their technical fouls. If they uphold it, they risk looking like they're targeting their most popular player during a critical moment in the season. Either way, Clark has put them in a difficult position, and that's exactly where she wants them. Because the more attention this gets, the more pressure the league faces to ensure fair officiating in her games going forward. This situation isn't going away. Clark made it clear she's going to keep playing with emotion, keep competing at high intensity, and keep speaking out when she thinks the officiating is unfair. And that's either going to force the league to improve their officiating consistency or create a massive controversy that reshapes player-referee dynamics in professional basketball. What we're really witnessing is a young superstar learning how to use her platform before most athletes even understand they have one. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball. She's reshaping the relationship between players and the league office. She's showing other young athletes that speaking up doesn't have to mean getting suspended. It means getting heard. And in a league that depends on her viewership, her voice carries more weight than any official's whistle. The technical foul controversy isn't actually about clapping. It's about who has real power in professional sports. And Caitlin Clark just made it clear that it's not the officials, and it's not always the coaches. Sometimes it's the player brave enough to say what everyone's thinking and confident enough to face whatever consequences might come. That's the real story here. That's what the league needs to understand before this situation escalates further.